Niner faithful ride with me. Red and gold blooded to the day I die. Reppin' Niner gang and it's all I bleed. Racking up dubs in my Levi jeans. And we run over the league with our whole team. Be that number one seed cause we ballin'. Putting in that work early in the morning. Super Bowl team and now these haters salty.
What's going on, faithful? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are back, the four of us together. Woohoo! Woo-hoo. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. Yeah,
it's a hot town tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us, the East Coast Red and Gold, on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And make sure you're following IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and keep up with the latest on the sports and the shows. Check out the website, esportsradio.com/East Coast Red and Gold for all the sports news and sports video blog, Hall of Fame. Come on back.
What he said.
Pages dedicated to each podcast on the network and our IE Sports Radio community forum. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio direct feed for all sports. And of course, IE Sports Radio is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. It is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, the single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. The all brisket jerky, of course, has gluten-free options, no MSG, no sodium nitrate, low in sugar, high in protein. That's the ratio you want, kids. And some of the best jerky you can get your paws on. Someone should probably send some to the Cowboys. It might help them next time. PlanetJerky.net, brisket beef jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Hopefully Micah Parsons doesn't hear that and go off on me on his next blog or something. What a bunch of soft asses.
Jerky is personal.
Get out of here. That's right. Totally personal. They don't deserve the jerky.
They don't. They don't.
They don't.
Listen, I was saying to Jess, shout out to all the cleaning people in Santa Clara for mopping up all those Cowboy tears after the game, man. They had their work cut out for them.
Yeah, it even sprinkled a little bit on Monday, and it was just all the Cowboy tears from all the fans going home.
They're flying home and they're falling from the sky. That's Cowboy tears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how you guys doing, Maddie? How are you?
Doing all right. How are you guys? Beck, your voice, I assume, is just now starting to come back from the game.
It is, yes, it is Wednesday, and this is as good as it gets.
All right. There you go. That's good.
We'll take it.
If that tells you anything about how Sunday was. Oh, my God. Yeah.
I was loud, too. I was screaming my head off, and I still have, although mine yesterday was going in and out a little bit.
I always get hoarse like this. I don't know why, but it doesn't take me. Home opener, by halftime, I had no voice left. It was gone.
I'm just glad that you didn't have that clapper thing, because I would have taken that and thrown it over.
I left the clacker in the room, and we got to the stadium. I was like, oh, I forgot my cowbell clacker.
If only you'd had a vuvuzela or something, really
oh my God.
A little bit.
And
Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's a very good Victory Wednesday.
It is.
And I feel very good. We're all back together again. This feels great. It feels good. And I'm just happy about this show. And everybody watching, you should tune in and be happy about this show also, because I would like to take a moment to present real quick previously on the East Coast Red and Gold podcast.
A great plan for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't discount that at all. I think
with the Dallas game, I think he'll be ready to go.
What I'm looking for is for him to come out and start swinging right as the game starts. Right, let the defense attack a little bit more. Right, punch them in the mouth a little bit more.
From their own 21. Dak will swing it out to Tony Pollard. Not going anywhere. 10 yards allowed. Great start this year. On third down, they get to Prescott. And it's the game's first down for Dallas. Dak has to pump. Pumps again. Trying to get away. Not getting away from Fred Warner.
Dowd, who are your X factors for this game Sunday night?
But I think we see a lot more Debo, and we see a lot more of your boy getting in the mix too, because they're going to try and shut down Christian McCaffrey. They're going to.
From the 19-5 to the pattern for Purdy, who escapes and fires end zone.
Woo! My X factors are Javon Hargrave and George Kittle.
Not him. Jumped up and made the sack.
Gafford, razzle. Purdy, coming out, Kittle. In empty space. Kittle, number 2.
I feel that because he's been so quiet, that this is a George Kittle week.
As pass rushers as well.
3rd and 2. Purdy got a block. End zone hat trick. Kittle's first 3 touchdown game.
I just said Dax Ducks. Pressure. Dax Ducks. That's what we need.
That's all I'm going to remember on Sunday. Dax Ducks.
Yep.
Throw them, right?
So you see,
That's
folks, we're not just pretty faces here. We actually know what we're talking about. Spot on.
Spot on.
We were spot on.
If I had listened to that and built my DFS lineups around George Kittle, I'd be talking to you from my brand new studio somewhere. Like that would be straight up. If you would put Kittle in as the captain in your showdown lineup on one of the things like DraftKings, for example, you would be rolling in it today. You would look like Scrooge McDuck jumping into the pennies,
swimming in the money,
like straight up.
And punch them in the mouth. We certainly did.
Oh, so Jeff and I are in the elevator, and we're coming down, and there's Cowboy fans in the elevator in front of us, and some guy not wearing any colors of any kind. He turns around and whispers, "I think you're gonna win." I said, "Dog walk. We're going to dog walk then."
I like it.
And that's exactly what we did.
Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, I mean,
joining us.
holy Pete. There's a lot of folks in here. Hope everybody is well. That's one of those wins that makes you feel good, and because it does 2 or 3 things. Okay, one, it shows everybody how much better you are than the Cowboys after everybody has been yapping for weeks about how great the Cowboys are because they blew out the Giants on opening night. And then they blew out the Patriots, right? Ooh. They ignored the Cardinals game. They're just like, yeah, it didn't happen. No, it did. It did happen. Okay.
It counts.
So now they're 3-2. Now everybody's kind of like, oh, hey, well, they're going to be a really good wild card, I guess, right? So, we've kind of exposed Dallas for what they are, which frankly was done in the last 2 playoffs. Am I wrong on that? Like, did Dallas get any better after the last 2 playoff losses? No. Yet the 49ers did each time. So this shouldn't be a shock to anyone, but everyone nationally is flabbergasted. They can't believe this is happening. I thought the Cowboys were so good. How can Brock Purdy be so good? I didn't know this. I didn't know that. Wow, no kidding, huh?
On our
this
side,
Fred Warner Defensive Player of the Year thing all of a sudden out of the blue. All these bandwagoners come rolling on after a Sunday night football blowout. It's like, where the hell have y'all been all year? Like, what is going on? This is the chosen one season. Now, we'll talk a little bit about Dallas, but now this week is a big test. This is the game you worry about coming off a big emotional win like that, right? It's going to be gross. You might have a backup quarterback in there. There's shades of Chicago opening day last year, kind of weather-wise. This is another dragon that this team is going to need to slay, because at the end of the day, this is a team that the 49ers should absolutely blow out the door. They may have to gut it out. Just you're coming off of a huge win on Sunday Night Football. That they were talking about well into Tuesday. We're probably still talking about into today, and will be talked about later on this week when fines come out for shirts and things. And then you're going into big weather conditions and a tough Browns defense. So this is going to be a tough matchup coming up. So this is another measuring stick game to see how great this team can really, really be if they can come out and gut this out after a big win on Sunday Night Football, where everybody's been pumping your tires all week.
Yeah, I was listening to NFL radio earlier on the way home, and they were saying how the rest of the NFL is now behind the 49ers. And I'm just like, I'm driving home. I'm like, wow, where was all this talk? Like the beginning of the season and even before the season started, it was
Weeks 1 through
non-existent.
4. Where was it? Weeks 1 through 4.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, and I agree, Matt. They keep talking, the team seems to have this mantra and this attitude that it's 1 week at a time. It's the next game. We don't go any further than 1 week at a time. And I hope that's true, because I hope that, as much as they did and as much as the Cowboy game was one of the big measuring sticks, you still have to come play Cleveland this week. And, you got to win. It has to happen. So I hope they, put the Cowboys game behind them already, even though the rest of the NFL world and fan base hasn't, because why should we? It was amazing. And any chance we get to, to dog walk and talk smack to Dallas Cowboy fans, it's a good day. But I do hope mentally that they're preparing and have already moved on and preparing for it. So you're right. It'll be a good test to see how well they rebound and move on.
Yeah, I mean, those the memes are great. Love those. I keep looking at those, and I just, this is going to go on for like a little over a week old. For May. Yeah, no, they definitely don't. I just found a couple new ones earlier when I was on Twitter. They're great. Becca, we were at the game, Becca and I, and it was just.
Tell us about it.
Yes, it was. One, we had a blast. 2, it was just like, it was awesome, because just like the victory, like at one point I actually felt bad for Dallas a little bit. I don't know why.
I felt bad for
You're
Trey.
getting soft.
Only Trey. I do not feel bad for Dallas. When the chant of "We want Trey"
came out, yeah,
I was like, they cannot put that poor boy in this game and throw him to the Lions. He will be crying in a corner, sucking his thumb, crying for his mommy. He'll never be right after that if they put him in this game. The crowd was ready for it. The defense they were out to make a statement, and they would have eaten him alive. And I don't think it would have gone well for him. And the guys wouldn't. I think they would have felt bad doing it too. So after the game, of course, but I just didn't think that was going to be a good move if Dallas put him in. But I did feel bad for Trey, but that was it. That was the only thing I felt bad about.
Yeah, they couldn't put him in because he was designated as the emergency quarterback.
Yeah.
So something would have had to have happened to Dak and Cooper in order for him to be put in. But it was great to hear the fans calling for him, though.
Define emergency.
They should have done
it wasn't emergency.
Exactly. George Kittle should have gotten on the phone like Shannon Sharp did that one time and called in the National Guard because the Broncos were killing the Patriots. Like that's really what that's what should have happened. And then Trey Lance could have gotten in the game and been like, listen, I've gone against this defense so many times, just follow my lead, right? He might have looked pretty good. That might have been the best.
That might have been their best option, right?
That might have been their better option at that time because like nobody's going on. You might as well just draw it up and counter what they're doing. Like nothing else has worked so far. Like all you're doing is letting your first team go out there and get pants. And everybody's talking about when Dallas plays them again, etc. When it's gonna I'm like, they were bad this time. They've been eliminated from the playoffs 2 years in a row. Right. This is if for those of you that lived it in the early 90s, the Cowboys eliminated the 49ers, twice, and then they beat them in the regular season. It was like a 3-game losing streak. This would have been akin to them losing the 1994 regular season game, which I think would have been catastrophic. I don't think they would have been able to beat them in the NFC title game because it would have been in Dallas. This was huge. And they didn't just I thought this was going to be a knockdown, drag out, pigs, pigs in the mud affair, 21-14, 24-14, right in that vicinity. They blew the doors off them. They made a full-on statement, which was, when we're at full strength, you cannot stop us because you don't have enough people to guard us at the end of the day. right? Like every one of their positions is utilized, and you can't really say that about a lot of the other teams in the NFL. There's a lot of empty space out there. You got to worry about just about everybody on the field with the San Francisco 49ers on both sides of the ball.
I felt like when the Cardinals took it to them, they really, really revealed some weaknesses that, people like Kyle and Steve Wilkes, they're going to go, well, they can do that. We can do this. And I was just like, nope, it's going to be a blowout of epic proportions. I didn't expect it to be as high as it was or as much of a domination by any stretch. But I was like, it's going to be all 49ers. And I'm absolutely thrilled that it was. Clearly.
Yeah, I am too, for sure. And also shout out to Austin Bryant, T.Y. McGill. We met them at a Ladies of the Empire event on Monday, and they were super cool.
Guys.
Yeah, just really awesome. And TY was talking to us for quite a bit.
Nice.
So shout out to them. And guys, come on the show.
Yeah, come on the show.
Yeah. Bring your friends.
We made the invite, man. We did.
Talk to Spencer Burford about it. See how it works. See how it has worked for Spencer
Yeah.
Burford this year. Like
Yeah.
the East Coast red and gold karma is not some sort of like made up thing. Good things happen to people that are on the show, typically.
Exactly.
Tell Big Spence the Spice Guy sent you.
This Spice Guy.
Did I tell you guys a Spice Guy story?
Yeah. I think we know the Spice Guy story.
Okay.
You talked about it when Spencer was on.
No. So week 1 in Pittsburgh, I saw Spencer after the game.
Oh, yes.
And I went up to him. I was like, hey, Spencer, how you doing, man? I was like, I don't know if you remember my face, but you were on the East Coast Red and Gold podcast with me, Jess and Matt, Terra Dome. I was the guy who held up and he goes, you're the Spice Guy.
Yes, you're the Spice Guy. Yeah.
We made the lasting impression.
Yeah.
So we had a little chuckle, took a little picture together, told him, thanks for balling out and everything, and have a good season. So yeah, there's my story.
All right, here's what I need. Ty, because I know you're really good with shirts. I need in saloon font, probably in a 3X for males. I need friend of Spice Guy. Okay.
Can we all get one?
And I think Jess and Becca should get one. Try going for Terra Dome too. Friend of Spice Guy. Right? And on the back, we can just put an East Coast red and gold logo, like right up on the neck. Okay, like perfect.
You got it.
It's fun because you guys were asking us from the East Coast how we became fans and telling them our stories about how we, became fans, from the East Coast. And they're like, okay, cool. They really did. They stood there and we had a great conversation for a little while with them. It was a good time.
Yeah, and even when they walked away to talk to other people, then they came back, we continued and they remembered we were from Jersey and and it was
cool.
It was pretty cool.
We got hugged at the end of the night. It was great meeting you guys. Oh, it was
fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't.
What's not the love?
I can't stress enough. I can't stress enough to the folks watching at home. If you can get to any of these events that they have that aren't on game day, just pay attention to the things that they've got out there. There was a thing a couple of weeks ago I really wish I'd gone to. Steve Young was there.
Yeah.
It was hosted by Christy Yamaguchi. That whole thing, they're on off nights. These people are accessible. They're willing to talk. That one I went to in May, you're just sitting there hanging out and you're like, oh, hey, there's Eric Wright, or, oh, hey, there's Talanoa Hufanga, right? Or, oh, hey, here's Gary Plummer. Oh, you want a photo with my ring? Sure, no problem, Gary. And they're willing to do it, So, that's your chance. Pay close attention to that stuff and get a sitter if you can and do what you can, because that's a great way to really get to hang out and meet some of the people. So good stuff. And Jess and Beck, excellent work. You guys are so schmoozy. You guys are the most schmoozy people in the world.
They get in there, man.
It's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. You fit in anywhere. It's fantastic. fantastic, and you walk in like you own the place, and nobody cares. That's the best part.
That's
Like
fact.
they're just like, oh, they're from Jersey. They're fine. They're great.
Yeah.
They're great.
It's
Every
at the
time.
point. It's at the point now that Kyle asks her for a picture.
I
Just,
was like,
get in here.
oh, you again.
Let me
So
get a picture
are we
with you.
taking our standard issue
Yep.
picture?
Yeah.
Jess is like, okay.
Kyle has
Oh,
his
do it
own
again.
leaker asking where Kyle has his own leaker asking where Jess is. Yes,
I know,
that's
right?
exactly
Just
that's
think.
correct.
You know, it's actually kind of funny because my mom always said, like, before we left over the weekend on Sunday, she was like, you know what? They probably know that you're coming now. I'm like, great, thanks.
They heard it through the grapevine.
Thanks, Mom.
They know that you landed.
Yep.
But we met
All right.
Taylor's dad out in the parking lot. He was tailgating. He
Yes.
was wandering around a bunch of the tailgates. We got to meet Mr. Warner, and we gave him a card for the show too, and invited him on.
Nice.
Yeah, Fred Sr. is he's good people. Really, really cool dude.
Great time, it really was.
Awesome.
Oh, and we got Jess on the shot stick. She was on.
You have
the
to send me that video.
Yeah, I will. I just happened to think of it. Like, got Jess on the shot stick.
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely a fun little trip. That's for sure. So getting back to the Cowgirls game,
Yes.
the Cowboys were definitely outcoached, for sure, big time. And just a little tweet from our friend of the show, Jack Hammer. Kyle Shanahan was 10-22 in his first 2 seasons as 49ers head coach. He's 47-22 in the 4+ seasons since. You know, I love Kyle Shanahan, obviously. I mean, that's not, you know, a hidden fact, but he definitely has his moments, but nobody's perfect. What he's doing with this team, what he's done in this organization since he, you know, took over has been great. Pretty much stripping down the team to making it to what it is today. I can't, you know, say anything more about him than other than he should have gotten Coach of the Year last year instead of Brian Daboll.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that'll be this year, but I don't think he really cares about that. I mean, the only thing that he really cares about is hoisting that Lombardi trophy, which is what all you know, the fans want. But yeah, guys, thoughts. Go ahead.
Somebody jump in there.
You take it, Ty.
That's right.
You talk to
Kyle,
them.
You know, yeah. Speaking of Kyle specifically, you know, we know he's the right man for the job. We knew he was the right man for the job when we hired him. You know, those first 2 seasons, it was rebuilding. That first season, we had like 48 new players. Like, that's how bad the roster was the previous year. Totally flipped it. Second year, a ton of injuries. Third year, we're relatively healthy, and we get to the Super Bowl, right? And we've seen nothing but success since then, except for the 1 year where we had a ton of injuries once again. So you see how this team is on the right track, despite injuries here and there, despite instability at the quarterback position. He still kept this thing on the right track. So, and we've talked about this before. The Fire Kyle crew needs to fire themselves. And I'm happy they're quiet thus far because they needed to be smacked like last season.
They followed Trey Lance to Dallas, I guess.
You know, I don't care where they went. They need to just go anywhere. Like, for real. Like,
You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, he's our coach. We talked about this too. I like stability. I like knowing he's our coach now and in the future. And we always draw comparisons to the teams, you know, how they do well. Oh, this reminds me of 94 and 89. Well, this coaching regime is reminding me of the Walsh years. Stability. You know what's there. Yes, we had a few turnovers here and there, but that's just because that's how good this freaking coaching staff is that he builds. He builds it. So kudos to him.
Go ahead, Maddie.
To follow up on that, Shanahan was 10-22 in his first 2 years. I believe Walsh, and this is off the top of my head, I believe he was 8-24 in his first 2 years.
Good point.
He had to clean out all the junk that Joe Thomas had left behind.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Kyle Shanahan had to go clean out all the junk that got left behind before that, right?
Good point.
And Rob, you could not be 100% correct. This has been parallel. The only difference between the two things, the literally one of the only differences between the two things is that in 2019 they lost the close Super Bowl as opposed to winning the close Super Bowl in 1981, which was year 3 of both things.
Exactly.
Until that, they didn't get back again until 84. So they're kind of on that now. And then you've got like the 2020 season's kind of weird. Like, what are you going to do? But when you look at the parallel, but even that's very similar to 1982. There was a strike year. They only had 9 games. It's very bizarre. That's why I thought last year was kind of the 84 year. But, they got Christian McCaffrey middle of the year, and he fit the offense, and they found that extra gear. We knew they had that extra gear. Right. We knew they were capable of 30 points a game, and they have been basically ever since, right? Like, can't speak enough about it. Like, for him to have turned this, one, for the York family to have kept the patience, number one, and understanding, like, going back to the future a little bit, like, hey, this is what we did back then and it worked then. Why don't we do this here? Kind of having that tie-in, having a guy who knows what he's doing, brings in the right staff, continues to bring in the right staff. People that want to be there are there because they want to play football. They're not there because they gave them the most money. They're not there because the housing in the Bay Area is super affordable. They're not there.
Right.
I assure you, they are not playing for the 49ers for any sort of tax breaks, okay? That's not happening. But what they are doing is winning, and they're having fun. And it's a good locker room culture. And everybody in that locker room seems to fit in. And if they don't fit in, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, don't ever hear anything about crap happening in that locker room.
Right.
Don't really hear anything. Nothing. Like, it's just, they're doing everything the right way, but at the end of the day, they've got to cap this thing off with a Lombardi trophy. This year, next year, every year, I don't care. Yeah. But they got to get it once, or if not, it's not going to be looked upon as fondly, even though it's almost as impressive, depending on the era of football we're in.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, Matt. The attitude and the atmosphere in the locker room, they all say it all the time. There's no ego. And you have some of the biggest ego potential playing football. Like, I mean, you've got Fred Warner, you've got Christian McCaffrey, you've got Debo, you've got, Bosa and Kittle.
George Kittle.
Yeah, I was going to mention him.
All right.
Trent Williams. I mean, the entire roster has a right to have an ego. But they all talk about how it's not there. They all have the same focus on winning. And even though they didn't win last year, you could have had a whole lot of discord and a whole lot of unhappy people because this season ended the way it did. And it just doesn't seem to be the way. They're more energized and more focused on going back to the well and really, really putting their energy into winning. That's why, when you talked about earlier about the Cleveland game being another good watermark, right? Another test. I think, their mentality is that was last week. This is this week. We've got to worry about what we got to do to beat Cleveland. And you just see them being so hyper-focused on that. And I don't know, I just think whatever John and Kyle are doing, they're doing something right with keeping the attitude and the camaraderie in the locker room the way it needs to be. The coaching matters. I think they all feel like they have the best coaches around them. They're having the best success of their career. Some of these guys have been on a lot of teams coming here, and it just seems to every piece of the puzzle coming together the way it needs to. And they all feel that way. They feel like they're in the right place at the right time with the right coaches to win, and they're looking for success. They know they have all the pieces of the puzzle to put it together to win. And they just all seem very focused on that. So, Kyle should be coach of the year. McCaffrey should be, and Purdy should be in the discussion for offensive players of the year. And, Warner and Bosa back in the same discussion for defensive players of the year. There should not be anyone else being talked about. If they are, they're a distant second, Absolutely.
Okay. Luter, Gray, and Beal are expected to return from IR this week.
Nice.
That's
Awesome.
Good news.
Good stuff.
Be some interesting roster decisions.
Yep.
Depending on how that works.
Yeah.
Healthy
Yeah.
bodies, though.
I
So,
saw Coletto got picked up by Pittsburgh, and somebody else got snapped.
Jason Verrett's going to Houston.
yep.
Kerry Hyder's in Houston now.
Kerry Hyder.
Kerry Hyder's on the practice squad in Houston, but I would expect he's going to be on the game day squad
Yeah.
pretty
He
quickly.
won't be there long, right?
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
along
I
with
don't think he'll be that long.
with Kyle Shanahan, it seems like the coaches are clicking as well. Kyle Shanahan, Steve Wilkes, Rob Schneider's special teams, Chris Kasarik, D-line, the list goes on. Just everybody gelling at the right moment. Like, yeah, we are in going into week 6. Still is early in the season, but there's a lot of great things to talk about with the San Francisco 49ers, and everybody should be happy. But you talk about the coaching, and now you get to the players, and we'll start with this guy, Brock Purdy. Had a phenomenal night. Putting him up again, side by side with Dak Prescott. He went 17 and 24, 253 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Should have been more if not for
No
an
interceptions.
odd penalty.
Yeah. No, and he didn't turn the ball over, compared to Dak Prescott, 14 and 24, 153, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Brock had a great night. It seemed just like the play, from the play calling to his execution to the whole team's execution.
Yeah.
And just knowing, where to be, what routes to run, everything gelled. So yeah, Brock Purdy just had a great night, my opinion. Go ahead,
He
Becca.
absolutely did. He had a great night. I think, what I love about Brock is he owns it when he knows he underthrew or overthrew somebody. And he goes back and he fixes that. He makes those adjustments in the game. He's not like Jimmy, who over or underthrows somebody and then continues to overcorrect or undercorrect and just keeps doing the bad things. He goes back to it and hits somebody, on a route that's in double coverage and it's the ball in the perfect spot. He just seems to have Teflon, where he's not affected by those mistakes. He's like, okay, I screwed that up. Let me fix that and go back and really take that ownership of needing to be better, and has been doing that. It's pretty amazing to watch. But yeah, he's been just phenomenal and just so cool about it too. Just so, unassuming, and everything he's doing makes it look easy.
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, man. This is what we wanted to see, right? It's what I talked about all off season. We didn't know who Brock is. We need some games under his belt. We need to see him develop. And it's exciting because we are seeing him develop in front of our very eyes. And he's developing on this pace, right? He's just getting better and better every week. And that's fun. Because you can see how the offense is just opening up more and more every week. Right?
Oh, and let's not forget, he came back from a big old injury that we were all concerned about. Who thought about Brock's injury since week 1?
Yeah, we haven't been talking about that at all. Nobody.
No one's talking about it.
That's an afterthought.
Right. Exactly that.
So the kid is out there balling. And what I really like is, what Rebecca said. He goes out, he makes a mistake. He quickly adjusts. He compensates for that. He had a pass that was thrown behind Ayuk some. On next play, he overthrew Ronnie Bell on a pass.
Yeah.
And that was like the 2 worst passes of the night. That was it. He came back on the field and it was like you would never think he threw a bad pass on the night. He was just clicking and making it happen. And that's what's great to see. And what I really like is I heard that he went to Kyle this week and said, last week, I should say, and said, hey, Kyle, I didn't play well in that divisional game last year. I want to be better. Let's talk and tell me what I need to do to be better. I don't know what that talk was, but hot damn did it work. Because he was out there balling. He made some throws that were elite. That throw to Ayuk that was called back for a penalty. Matt, you know this because we talk about this all the time. That was the throw we've been waiting to see. The one where he hits a receiver in stride. Over the shoulder. The ball's right in front of him, and he continues to go upfield toward the end zone. If he starts hitting that consistently, forget about it.
It's the Walsh,
It's
right?
over. Yep.
All I
Bro, it's
It's
over.
All I picture is Bill Walsh in his gold winter 49ers jacket saying, no, that's crap.
again.
Throw it again.
Do it
Throw it
again.
again. He has to catch it here. You're throwing it here.
He can't.
Here.
It needs to be here.
Mhm.
It needs
All
to
I
be
hear. That's all I see. Every time I see that. And I
Yeah.
think of the difference between this is what they were looking for when they were trading 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance. They wanted Trey to be that guy that was doing this, and it didn't work out, and it just so happens they found Brock. But the whole deal is, like, the quarterbacks that they've had in this system have been able to play it, but they haven't been able to unlock every level, right? It's like playing Super Mario Brothers. They went from level 1, they jumped into level 4 via the pipe, right? They just skipped 2 and 3, and then they like went through and did the whole thing. Well, no, that's not going to work. You got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, you're not really going to unlock this whole thing unless you don't do that. Brock has done that the whole way, whether it was how he joined the team, like the experience he had in college, like just like he was born for this. You know, people have said that it was like AI, he's an AI created quarterback or something. He's like Anakin Skywalker. He was created by the Force, right? He just popped out of nowhere. Like,
There's a Star Wars reference.
He was just created by it. Like, that's who he is. Like, it's just, it's amazing. And we get to watch this live. Like, this is the stuff that people that, you know, I lived up here for the Brady stuff. I was around for Marino. I was around for Elway. I wasn't around for when Montana was making the ascension, but I feel like this is similar. The only difference is he didn't have to sit behind, you know, Steve DeBerg for a season and a half, right? Like he got to start his rookie year and hit the ground running because he had an offense that was already ready to go with all the best players. Yep. When Montana joined the team, they did not have all the best players, right? They were insurance salesmen and this guy and that guy and all sorts of other things, right? School teachers, like 45 different defensive backs come in and only one makes it. Like tryouts where hundreds of people come in, they only found one player, Bill Ring. Like, you know, they were overturning it everywhere to find talent. This team had all the talent, and Brock was able to take the experience, plug it in, work hard, do everything they need to do, and he continues to ascend. And he gets better every week. And the one thing that I'm really noticing, guys, and everybody at home, I want you to stop and think right now. How many times this year have you had that where Brock threw it to the outside and it could have been picked off, right? Like that thing where Mac Jones threw across the field a couple of weeks ago against the Cowboys, or some of those Jimmy throws that you might have seen last year in the red zone where you're like, what are you throwing to? Or just the oh no's, right? Where somebody jumps the route. I haven't seen any of that this year. I haven't even seen them really come close. He had a few that could have been bad because they were dropped, penalties, whatever last year. None of it this year. Like he's even cleaned that up. It's sterling, and you just hope he stays upright, he stays healthy, and he continues to ascend and does all the things that he needs to do because he's clearly the guy. And guess what? He gets to be the guy for under $1 million for like the next year too.
A while.
Yeah.
And we don't have the second half fall off the cliff that, the ship is taking on water and the Titanic sinks, by a field goal at the end of the game. And how many games did we watch in the last, 4 or 5 years that end that way? We come out hot in the first half, take a lead, and then it slowly gets chiseled away and we end up losing. And you're like, how in the world does this happen? No,
or the other way, and then you go into halftime, and we're thinking we're going to get second half adjustments, and we really didn't get any second half adjustments.
Mm-hmm. No, we made more adjustments and come back out and nail the coffin absolutely shut. Pour the cement on top, and dare you to find Jimmy Hoffa under the Meadowlands. Try and get out of this.
What's up, Sin?
Hey, Sin.
So let's go on to this guy, All-Pro Fred. Go ahead, Ty.
Enough said.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is there to say? Our leader on defense not only was the leader in name on the field on Sunday, he was the leader in action. That's what you want your leader to do. I don't know what the leader on defense on the other team was doing, but that's their problem.
Our ready for his Monday podcast.
That's what it was.
He was crying in his cup.
Yeah, podcast on the brain. Our leader, who has a podcast also, which is pretty darn good. I am enjoying it. Our leader was focused. And he wanted to make sure everybody else was focused, and he got the job done. I mean, is there anything he didn't do on Sunday? He was when you say he was all over the field, he was literally all over the field.
Yeah.
He was in the backfield. He was short. He was out long. He was wide. Everywhere. I mean, when you talk about the defensive player of the year discussion, you guys start talking about Fred Warner right now.
Speaking of the podcast, did you listen to it?
With him and his wife, yeah.
Yeah. When he talked about, he was like, they were hoping they were going to cross it up, and I cut the route off and was able to get in there. It's
you saw how he jumped in there, and then he still had coverage, and he blocked that, and he still went back, did a little pump fake. He got off his feet, but still was able to come down. That's a phenomenal play.
He was 3 people on one play. He was not only rushing the quarterback, getting in the passing lane, he was also covering the receiver all at the same time.
Yeah.
When they hear triple threat position, that's exactly what it was. But that's what it was for football in that case. People don't do that, right? Like we've all worked with that one person that does the job of like 8 people. That was Fred Warner on that play. He did the job of 3 people. Only he did it at an all-pro level in each scenario. Like, Dak Prescott must see Fred Warner in his sleep, man. Like, straight up. He must wake up in a cold sweat, like run into the fridge, thinking that Fred Warner's going to take something out of his fridge or something, because Fred Warner just at this point is like taking his lunch on a regular basis. That's all I can think of.
Fred Warner deserves Dak's lunch.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't deserve this lunch, Dak. You get nothing.
Yeah.
Have water. Go sit in the corner, Dak, and drink water. That's all you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say was what that tweet said. All-Pro Fred.
Yeah, All-Pro Fred. The name couldn't be more true.
Yeah.
Well, like he, we talk about him being a leader on defense. I heard before the game, he got all the defensive guys, and Fred normally does the huddle where he does the speech. This week, he had each guy link arms in that circle. Like, let's all link arms. We are one today, and we're not giving them anything. That right there. When I heard that, I was like, well, if I was there and I saw that, I knew we was going to win. Because that shows you how locked in he was and how he got everyone else locked in. And you saw they was playing out of their mind. I mean, I'm glad he's on our team.
Yeah, that's a true leader right there.
Yeah, that's a true leader right there. Like, let's all get together and band as one for this night. All Pro Fred.
Yep. What's up, Corey?
What up, Corey?
So yeah, let's talk about the Dallas D a little bit.
My favorite stat.
They allowed more points versus the 49ers than they had in their first 4 games of the season combined. Terrible.
And they only, in 2 games, they only allowed 3 points. They allowed 0 and 3.
Yep.
So combined, yikes. That's what happens when you play real competition.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah.
What's up, Brian?
Soft schedules in the NFL, people don't pay attention to them, or they inflate the teams that are on there based on their record of who they played. Like, really go in there and look at some of these teams that they beat, and how they beat them, and why they beat them. Like, yeah. The Arizona game, to me, should have been the measuring stick, right? Like, you go into Arizona, you're supposed to be this team, and they didn't even, like, it's not like it got ripped apart from them. Like, Arizona basically just beat them up. That was it. Like, have a good day. Thanks for playing. Arizona comes here, tries to do the exact same thing, and no, that's not today, friends.
No.
Right? And they pulled away at the end. That, to me, is the difference. It's the same team. It was the same quarterback, same running back. Like, there was no –
Yep.
Should have been a good measuring stick game there, like, based on what happened, and it wasn't. People still thought the Cowboys had a chance. I was floored. The only way they had a chance is if they kept it at like 17-13 and the officials kept them in the game, or the turnovers just didn't stop.
Here's another fun one.
Yeah, right.
Defensive play. All I hear is this guy should be defensive player of the year. People have compared this guy to Lawrence Taylor. Get the hell out of here. Lawrence Taylor. Stop it. Stop it.
That's laughable.
Lawrence Taylor could get out of bed after a crack binge and go out and kick your ass with his left hand, with his right shoulder broken, and then go party, and then not show up for practice for a week and do it all over again next Sunday. Micah Parsons, like, probably devotes his life to football and still isn't even on the planet that Lawrence Taylor was.
You can't clip Lawrence's toenails.
No, not even the same deal, man. Like,
No.
I think that if Lawrence Taylor had that same dedication to football that like these guys do now, like Mahomes, Brady, these guys with the this and that, like, we would be talking about some wildness with Lawrence Taylor. Like,
astronomical
like,
numbers.
Every single defensive record that has ever been would be owned by him. Just
he'd have like
straight up
Jerry Rice
like,
numbers on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I think Lawrence Taylor and Jerry Rice are probably the 2 most disrespected guys in the game, because people are constantly like, this guy's the greatest guy ever. No one is better than Jerry Rice, and no one is better than Lawrence Taylor. So just
I agree with that.
Stop it now.
I agree with that.
For those listening, it's a slide of Micah Parsons, pass rush snaps 26, 0 sacks, 0 QB hits, and 1 quarterback hurry.
That is not Lawrence Taylor. That is correct, right?
No,
that's not. He's not defensive player of the year. He's not putting his team on his back and putting the Cowboys towards the division title. That's not going to happen. Ridiculous. Lawrence Taylor.
And I have if you haven't noticed, I have a plethora of slides tonight, and this is by far my favorite.
I'm so happy Gary Plummer is relevant again, because he deserves all of the accolades for this.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
If you read the story, I shared that story, the whole thing about the shirt and how he didn't get fined for that was genius and priceless, and I love it.
Yeah, if Becca, talk a little bit about that article.
So the Gary Plummer, they interviewed him because George Kittle, threw up the shirt as an homage to what Gary Plummer did in the 90s, because, the rivalry was pretty great back then. So Gary Plummer had ordered these shirts. I guess word got out. So John Madden and Pat Summerall, he came out of meetings and they were at his locker and the box had arrived with the shirts. So they already opened the box and told him they were taking shirts. So they took shirts and it got out to the league. So the league sent him a letter and said, if you dare step 1 foot on the field with that shirt on, you will be fined. So instead of stepping onto the field, because a Candlestick, it was baseball and a football field, he's got most of the pictures were taken of him standing on the steps in the dugout for the baseball stadium. And only after the game when they won the championship, it was the NFC Championship game, he was standing off the field on the sidelines when he raised the shirt, and that picture was taken. And so he never technically stepped a foot on the field and did not get fined for wearing the shirt. Now, George Kittle might, but it's a very low number. It was like 10 grand or something. So, but, Gary Plummer's like, I love it. I love that he's, these guys are taking it seriously and the rivalry is back and, they're really respecting the past and bringing that into today's game. So it's good. And he was on Mac and Murph too, I think yesterday morning talking about it as well. Good stuff.
Yeah. Sin says, if you remember the Dallas versus Niner rivalry decades, then you get it.
You get it. You absolutely do.
Can we start a GoFundMe to pay that fine?
Like I said, for George Kittle, it's $50. It's not going to be.
I'm just saying we could just get it. We could go find, and then we could give it to somebody because like his fine goes to charity anyway, right? Like
somebody started one and said
did they already?
Charity. Yeah, it was trending today.
Good.
Somebody started one and said the proceeds would go to charity. Anything
as
raised.
They should.
Yep.
I love it.
And even Merton Hanks had a little fun.
Mm-hmm.
A gentle reminder: the team in red is the first NFL franchise to win 5 Super Bowl champions.
Fact.
It sure was. Good to see the older guys from years past, get back into this.
Yeah,
and
I
add
definitely
on.
agree.
And some guys showed up at the game. Like that's what we want. That's the that's the franchise. That's 49ers for you.
Yep.
And just the team stat comparison definitely just shows you exactly how the game went.
Yeah.
0 for 0 in the red zone.
They never made it there.
Mike is saying how like the score really didn't reflect what happened on the field. I was like, I'm sorry, Micah, did you look at the stats? About them total yards, time of possession, turnovers. Oh, I think it does. It tells us everything we needed to know that happened on the field.
What field was he on?
Yeah, that's what we
It wasn't Levi's.
This boy is tripping on something. You get your bell rung in this game.
Like, yeah. He must have took a blow to the head.
Uh-huh.
He must think he was back in Dallas or something. Because it went down exactly how it looked.
Yeah, it's laughable. Exactly.
In full denial.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I saw him on one play.
Remember, that's the first step, denial. That didn't happen.
Yep. There you go.
Yep. So game balls, guys. Becca, go ahead.
Shoot, I mean, that's hard. I know, obviously, Kittle deserves the game ball. I'm going to let you take that one. So I'm going to give mine to Purdy just because I think if ever there was a game to silence the haters and to bring people to the other side, everyone I don't care who you listen to, what show, what person, podcast, they're all singing his praises now. They're looking at his numbers. They're better than Jalen Hurts. He's out there doing what he's been doing for us, being consistent with it. And I think Brock totally deserves a game ball, but so does the entire offense. Like there's nothing you can say bad about anybody who played in that game this week. Everyone deserves a game ball for offense. Same thing on defense. Fred the Missile, you've got, Orrin Burks and those guys picking off balls and Tayshaun Gibson out there doing it. Everybody was doing their job, and you couldn't ask for more out of anybody. We held them to 57 yards of rushing. This Dallas Cowboy, Wheat and Boys, 57 yards, I think it was.
They could rush.
Right.
They got a run game this year.
Yeah, boy.
Right. And Greenlaw, oh, they cried so hard over that tackle. Oh, it should have been a penalty. He was in bounds trying to run the ball. What do you want Dre Greenlaw to do? He's going to tackle him, and that's just how it's going to go. Cry some more tears. Watch the rain fall from Santa Clara as you depart on your plane. So the whole defense gets a game ball. And special teams, my special team is going to Wishy. How many times did he pin that ball deep? I mean, he was very Robbie-esque in this game. So Wishy gets my special team ball.
I am going to go the entire offense.
Not just George.
But specifically, hold on, but here it comes. But specifically George Kittle. Because like I always say, every show, good things happen when the ball's in George Kittle's hands.
I was supposed to end the video with that, and I totally spazzed. Damn it. But it's here. You got it live, folks.
Yes.
Said it live for you. There you go.
Yeah, it's like amazing on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, I'm going the three guys with the picks. Fred Warner, Orrin Burks, Tayshaun Gibson. Just awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Yeah, Fred Warner for sure. I thought he set the tone for the defense, and everybody matched it. And they didn't overstep the bounds. Like, Dre Greenlaw, that was a thing, right? I'm worried that he's going to get targeted. Like he's going to, they're going to be looking for him, kind of like they look for the bad boy Pistons in the days, right? And he didn't. He towed the line, yet stayed intense at the same time. Like he matched Warner's intensity. I thought everybody on that field that played defense the other night matched Warner's intensity. So definitely game ball for him. On the offensive side of the ball, I would be giving a game ball to George Kittle as well. Not only because of the touchdown, but because of the way he was where he was supposed to be in that scheme, right? Like on that trick play that they stole that they had in advance, but Detroit had already used it earlier that day. There was a scenario where Ayuk was out there and like the guys were just like, we got to cover Ayuk, and it left Kittle wide open. He did everything he was supposed to do. Like, it's not only that George Kittle's an absolute physical freak, right? Like, it's not that he can block like an extra offensive lineman. It's not the fact that he could run like a wide receiver. It's the fact that like he's a super physical possession receiver as well. He does all of it. He does everything. He's like a unicorn. And he's not going to get utilized as often as we would like just because there are so many weapons on this team. And it really feels like the identity of this team is running the ball and then passing based off of the running attack. But at the end of the day, like this is still a West Coast scheme, and a lot of times your tight end's gonna have a big one. And in this case, he was the full beneficiary. So having guys like that in your red zone, super good. So Warner and Kittle are my game balls for that scenario.
Right.
So I'm going to start off with special teams. Mitch Wisnowski gets a game ball. He's been punting like crazy this year. I mean, he got 99 problems, but a Mitch ain't one. My guy. That's my guy. I mean, I don't have the stats, but I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in pinning teams inside the 10.
Yeah, he is.
It's been phenomenal this year. On defense, I'm giving game balls to Diamador Lenore and Mooney Ward because they shut things down on the outside. How many passes did you see completed on the outside? Not much, because they were lockstep with those receivers, shutting it down. I thought CeeDee Lamb was supposed to be this great receiver. Did you see him making
Usually
big
it's the
plays
third
out
receiver
there?
that you got to worry about for this team, and they didn't even let him deal with the third receiver.
Like,
Yeah.
shutting them down.
Zach didn't have time to find him.
Yeah. Shutting them down. I mean, the Fred Warner interception, Diamador Lenore had the PBU that deflected the ball up in the air.
Yeah.
Fred caught. So they were phenomenal. I'm giving them a game ball. On the offense, I'm going to go with the O-line because they balled out. The running was tough sledding, but Rebecca, hats off to you. You called it. They was going to do everything in their power to stop CMC. And we see they loaded up the box like, we're going to just stop him. But CMC still got his. So, hey, but.
Rough day for him, and he still had double-digit fantasy points, touchdown, bunch of touches. And they geared up to stop the kitchen sink, and it didn't work.
Yep.
Exactly.
The pipe burst anyway.
They still did a great job mashing, opening holes, 170 yards rushing on the day, and Brock had a clean day. Once again, if you take a look at that pocket he had, it was very clean all night.
Day long, yeah.
So hats off to the O-line. They get a game ball from me.
Cool. And just a quick look at the playoff picture after week 5. Not surprised.
No. Not at all.
That makes sense. I could see at the end of the day, yeah, I could totally see Tampa or Atlanta, because either one of those teams is going to win the South. Stop it with this New Orleans nonsense. I don't know what is going on in that team.
They got Derek Carr, man.
They are, yeah, they do have Derek Carr, and that might be the problem. The Raiders really did upgrade at quarterback, which is actually crazy, based on what I've seen so far from that. But either way, like getting the 4 seed in here, like getting any of those would be great. Like I would love to have the NFC South winner come here on for the divisional round. Go let Philly and Dallas smack. Go let Philly smack the crap out of whoever. It doesn't matter. Like go do it. Go have a good time. Go beat the crap out of Detroit, or Detroit can beat the crap out of them. I wouldn't be shocked if Detroit beat Philadelphia. Detroit has one of those sort of like go F it attitudes. I could totally see them going into Philadelphia and winning. Because they're not your typical dome team. Like Goff isn't super perfect on the road, but he's good enough to get by, and their running game, that's their identity. And I think they could run on Philadelphia. So yeah, happy to sit at home after playing on Saturday and wait for those two. So hopefully it gets to that point. I think that number one seed is so crucial for this team to make it to the Super Bowl, because they've got a perfectly placed bye week after week 8, right?
Yep.
They got that perfectly placed bye week, and then you would have another perfectly placed bye week right after the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom. Be so good for them to get ready for that run.
All right, so I share this sentiment with Johnny. I definitely enjoyed watching the destruction of Dallas, but we're on to the Browns. We got to keep it going. Yep. So with that being said, is Deshaun Watson going to play on Sunday?
Everything I've heard so far is probably a big no. I wonder what's going on there, to be quite honest with you. I don't. Last week, apparently, he was medically cleared by the doctors, but he said he didn't feel good enough to throw. Now, if he's being honest, I'm totally cool with that, right? But we gave a previous quarterback crap for not playing all that great, but in the playoffs, he was playing with like half a shoulder and a broken foot going into Dallas, and turned out to almost went to the Super Bowl. If you're like sitting out a regular season game and sitting out another one, it's kind of weird to me. And you're medically cleared, but you're not feeling good. Okay. I mean, I guess that's fine, but I don't know. I think if you're making $45 million a year and you sat out for the reasons you sat out for, I myself would be looking for any reason I possibly could to play football that weekend. and make sure that I was out there for my team, because you saw what they looked like without him last week. And by the way, kudos to the Cleveland coaching staff for not changing that game plan a single iota for the rookie coming in. Like, you want to go 6 wide, go 6 wide. Let's go nuts, right? Like, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. But yeah, like, have at it. This is a game, honestly, I'm concerned about. For the biggest thing I'm concerned about in this one is let down after the Dallas game.
Yeah.
And just Cleveland has a really tough defense. So if you don't kind of get off to it early and you keep them around in that game, they can get up. They're the type that can swap passes. They can make it difficult, and they can make it tough sledding for running as well. Like, they're a really good defense. So if you keep it close, or you let them keep it close and hang around, you'll give that defense a lot of strength. Hopefully they wear down towards the end of the game. But you keep it close, or you commit a stupid turnover or anything like that, they're gonna get fake confidence, basically. But it might be enough to win a game. I've seen really good teams go in and lose to Cleveland before for absolutely no reason at all, other than the fact that they won a big game the week before, right? Whether it was Monday night, Sunday night, whatever. So this is a huge one. This is a huge one psychologically and emotionally. I expect this to be a very close game, very tight game. And I think we're going to learn more about the 49ers after this game than we did after last game.
Yeah, I could agree with that. It looks like PJ Walker might be starting.
Oh, boy. Never mind. Everything I just said went out the window. PJ Walker, DTR, either one of them. Like, the way that Cleveland stays in the game is if it's short turnovers on a short field forced by their defense, and either the defense scores off those turnovers, their special team scores, or it's like within the 20 and they get something into Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, somebody like that. If one of those two is starting, this should be an absolute blowout. But it's the NFL, so
it depends on the weather too. I mean, I think it's actually supposed to rain, right?
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
I saw that. I think it's supposed to be rainy. So, I think that bodes well for us with the running game and just doing that, keeping it on the ground. They're going to have a hard time containing everything we can do there, even with their defense being good. I think their offense is going to be struggling against our defense, and we're going to, as long as we manage the clock and we don't turn over the ball, I think we're going to win. We saw the team come back from short rest from a Sunday to a Thursday and handle that really, really well, and then turn around and handle the Dallas Cowboys like they did this week. I think, the odds are in our favor, but you're absolutely right. I don't see this team like years past with the Aldon Smiths of the world, who would have taken this Dallas win and gone on a bender for some days maybe or whatever and not put in the effort and the work to practice. This team doesn't seem to be those people. They are the guys that are focused and really working hard every single day. You don't see them getting in trouble. They're not out doing anything crazy. Maybe Kittle, it was his birthday in the party bus afterwards. But otherwise, they're not some of those guys that in the past would have gone and tore up the town. It's just not the team. So I think they're going to be prepared and ready and going to walk into Cleveland, no matter the weather, with their mind in the right place to win.
Yeah, I don't agree with Matt with the whole this could be a trap game or something like that mindset, because Arizona was supposed to be the trap game.
Yeah.
I think every game could potentially be a trap game.
Every game can be a trap game in that. Yeah.
Right.
There's the look ahead, there's the look behind, there's all of it, right?
Right. But as Rebecca just said, this team is focused.
Yeah.
They're not young pups anymore. And they've been this close like so many times.
Yeah.
They're like this. They got the blinders on.
Yeah.
Right? And they're handling business. Yes, Sunday night was a big game, but that's their mentality. And kudos to our players because they understand the history of this team and the history of the rivalry.
Right.
So yeah, they were up for it, but they put it down and they move on. If you listen to players talk, they had Victory Monday, which means they get a Monday off, but every man was still at the facility getting treatment, doing different things. They just weren't at home eating popcorn. They're still focused on getting their bodies right, getting their minds right for this upcoming Sunday. So I think they're going to go in there and handle business.
Yeah.
Cleveland's defense is tough, right? We know they got players, but there's different levels to this, right? Like the Cowboys' defense was tough.
I was waiting on you to throw that in there.
But there's different levels to it, right? The last time we saw Cleveland on the field was against the Ravens. They got smacked 28-3. Gave up 130 yards rushing. Well, if they gave up 130 yards rushing to them, what could we get?
Right.
We got 170 on an off night.
On
it was an off night.
Defense.
Exactly.
Number one defense.
On an off night.
Yep.
So, but I think, they're going there. They'll handle business. They'll take care of things, impose their will, and get the job done. I don't foresee any hiccups unless we just shoot ourselves in the foot because of the weather or something. But even then, they've been in a bad weather game. They know how to adapt and adjust. I think the funny thing is we're going against Marquise Goodwin once again. I don't know how. Every year, he seems to land on the team that we are playing against on the schedule. But
49ers legend.
Yeah. Every year he lands on a team that we're playing against. It's the oddest thing. So
he is an Olympian, so
Yes, he is.
Yep.
I got love for him. I got love for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of love for him. Yep.
I just find it funny that he doesn't bounce to a team that we're not playing.
Yeah.
He always shows up. But that PJ Walker can play. He can make some plays. He can do some things. But I think we'll contain him. We'll be ready for him. And Amari Cooper, I know he's a great receiver and such, but if you play him physical, you double team him, you deny him. We have seen him tap out, literally, from games. He did it in Dallas. Ooh, did it in Dallas. Sensing a theme here, but I digress. So
And the
you can easily take him away and just dominate on defense. So I know it'll be a hard-hitting game and such, but we tend to hit a little harder than other teams on both sides of the ball. So I got us coming out with a good victory.
Yeah, I do too.
Weather-wise, it's supposed to rain most of the day on Saturday, about 0.65, 0.7 inches of rain.
Mm-hmm.
But the field, I'm guessing, is going to be somewhat wet because, that's what happens. It's not just going to dry up.
Though.
It's going to be 60s, 50s right in that vicinity, but you're going to have up to 30-mile-an-hour gusts. So it's going to be like what Bryant posted earlier. It's going to be an old 1949 AAFC championship sort of thing. Browns and 49ers. There's going to be a lot of running and a lot of defense. It's going to be a hard-hitting game.
Mm-hmm. I got to get up to Cleveland, though. They take care of that field. It's nice. They play on that nice Kentucky bluegrass.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be ready for game time.
Yeah.
You play a lot of fun.
I've never been.
Cleveland's a fun town. It's good. They've got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and, a nice area down there by the stadiums.
Cool. Yeah, I think, whether it's raining, sunshine, I think we still have this game. I think it will come down to the run game. I think BA is going to have a day. who knows? Maybe we see more George Kittle again in that mix as well. I hope so. You never know.
They have no one on the team that could guard him.
Right.
Matt said it earlier. He runs like a wide receiver, like he's the second best route runner on the team. He's probably got the second best hands on the team, if not the first, right?
Right.
Who are they going to get to guard him? Are they going to put Denzel Ward? Like they got to put their best corner on him? Well, if you do that, who going to guard BA and Debo
and right.
Oh, and the other wide receiver you've got coming out of the backfield in Christian McCaffrey.
Exactly.
Right.
And Juwan Jennings.
And we also have Juice, who running, catching,
right?
like receiving. Debo.
Can I rewind real quick? To the game
Yeah,
ball?
sure. Go ahead. You may rewind.
Game ball to Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, yeah.
Because he understood the assignment and he got everybody involved. It wasn't just we're going to give the ball to CMC, we're going to give the ball to BA. No, you got Debo, Kittle, Juice. Everybody was involved. We got JP Mason was in the game early, running the ball.
Yep.
He was crushing it.
He got everybody involved, and he was in his bag. So a game ball goes to Coach Kyle because he didn't hold back.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been waiting for. Utilize everybody. And
we had the starters out at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about how much in hand that game was. You're pulling everybody for an entire quarter.
It felt like that game was over. It reminded me of the Giants-Cowboys game on opening night. It's like, okay, this game is over, right? Oh, there's an entire quarter left to go?
Yeah.
I said that to Jess when the clock ticked down at the end of the third. I was like, oh my God, it's not the end of the game? We have a whole quarter left.
We have another 15 minutes of this? Like, I want to go party now, man. Like, come on. Or I want to go to bed, like that's really what it was. But yeah, just, whoa, funny.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. So the Browns defense, coached by Jim Schwartz.
Oh, Jim.
Kyle Shanahan is 1-8 against him. I don't really think that, I don't know. Everybody says that we're going to have a hard time against the Browns defense. I don't really see it. I don't think can it be a blowout? Yeah, it can be. I don't think we're going to score below 30 points. I think we're going to keep that going. And I think our offense is just way ahead of everybody. So I really don't think that defense is going to be an issue. So speaking that into existence.
Yeah. He's about to be 2 and whatever that was, 8.
Yeah. About to be 2-8.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Maddie?
I agree with that, man. Like, that's how it should be. If they're going to slay every demon this year, if Kyle can take care of the Jim Schwartz thing, that'd be great, right? But sometimes in this league, sometimes Enrique Wilson just hit the crap out of Pedro Martinez, right? And it makes absolutely no damn sense whatsoever.
Where'd that come from?
But right, the just in this league, those things happen where it's like that guy. Like, how does Eli Manning beat Tom Brady in 2 Super Bowls, right? It's just one of those things. Somebody's got your number, There's a cousin that you never beat at one-on-one because the guy would hit a shot out of the blue over his head and you'd be like, how did you do that? Like, ask the Knicks about Michael Jordan, or things like that. There's just some people you can't get over. Now, I don't think Jim Schwartz would be that guy for Shanahan by any means. I'm sure if you dug deeper into the 1-8, you'd see that many of the teams that Kyle was probably running were not quite up to the level of defense that Jim Schwartz probably had out there. So, but sometimes different schemes, different things, like it's just certain things don't schematically mesh with what you're doing and can create an issue with it, right? So I feel confident that this team can win any style of game. If they don't win 30 points, I still feel like they have the ability to win the game. And eventually there's going to be a point where they don't score 30 points. Even the best teams don't score 30 points every week. I'm sorry to say that. Hopefully it's forever, maybe next year sometime. But it is a good skill to learn to have just in case, because a lot of those playoff games do get kind of grimy, right? So we'll see.
And people also said that about Dan Quinn with Kyle Shanahan. You
yeah,
know,
they
like,
really. Oh yeah, he worked with him for years.
Yeah, like they're familiar. They were in Atlanta. You know, blah blah blah. You know, so.
My favorite one was the Trey Lance Trojan horse meme, by the way.
Right, the whole
where
playbook.
Kyle was handing him the Mike McCarthy, and Mike McCarthy's like, "Oh wow, this is great. We're getting Trey Lance." You know,
all the secrets.
All the secrets, yeah.
That was the dumbest thing ever. You asked the offensive guy what the defense is doing. What? I didn't play defense. I played offense.
People really come up with some things,
doing.
Man.
Oh, and by the by, it's the new defensive coordinator.
Unbelievable. Anywho, Cleveland, yes, they have a good defense. Good players on every level. Jim Schwartz, we know, is a good defensive coach. He's been in the league forever. I just think we're on a different level. We're playing at a different level right now. And as I just mentioned, Kyle is in his bag. He's been play calling, examining, attacking what you do well, and breaking it all season long. Right? And everybody's healthy. And Kyle is utilizing everyone. So we talked about this. It's the pick your poison offense, right? Who are they going to come out and say, let's take away this guy? Okay, if you take away that guy, you still got to deal with him, right?
And him.
Yeah.
This Army knife, right? It's like
we got a guy coming off the bench too.
I got a tool that'll work.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? It's like, yeah, I can see being a little rough, a little tough, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, even if we don't score 30, it's like, okay, 21, 26, 25, and our defense is only giving up 15 a game. And now we got a team that just came off of scoring 3 points and have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
I agree.
I think we're going to go 34-10.
I like it.
Sounds good.
I like it.
23-14.
The defense is going to be mad at you for that. They're like, what? We're giving up 14 points?
Well, we could say goodbye to Austin Bryan and T.Y. McGill. I mean,
they're done. They're not coming on here anymore.
27-9. 27-9.
When you come on, we'll mute his mic.
It's fine, yeah. He's not allowed to speak.
That Niners Northeast guy going to be there? No, don't worry about it.
No, don't worry about him.
I'll just wear my Friend of Spice Guy t-shirt. It'll be fine.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I want one of those shirts too. Yeah, for sure.
Friend of Spice Guy.
X factors. Let's start with the defense. Who's your X factor on defense for this game? Go ahead, Ty.
I'm gonna go with the combination of Cleveland Farrell and who did we just trade for? What's his name?
Randy Gregory.
Randy Gregory. I can see Randy Gregory getting out there and Chris Kasarik just giving him one job. Just go get the quarterback.
Go get him.
Just go run him down. Because I can easily see them double teaming Bosa because he's just wreaking havoc. He's just too good.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Dak peeking out the corner of his eye on Sunday. Like, 97 coming.
See you.
Dak Duck. Dax Ducks. So,
Stocks.
I can see them just shifting the line that way and freeing that side up, and those guys making plays. So that's what I'm going for. X factor on defense.
Go ahead, Becca.
He stole mine. I was going to say Randy Gregory because he's the unknown dude. He's coming in, and I think you're absolutely right. He's going to get turned completely loose. Just go do what you do, and yeah, I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Maddie.
Even in the mud.
Javon Hargrave. They own that line and own the trenches, so Jerome Ford and the rest of the gang and Kareem Hunt can't run. Whoever is playing quarterback, it doesn't matter. Otto Graham could come back. I don't think it would work out well for them. They're going to need for Cleveland to have any sort of chance. They're going to need to be able to run the ball, and I frankly don't see them doing that on our defensive line. And Javon Hargrave has been nothing short of phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal. And I would have, by the way, I was going to take Randy Gregory as well, because I really want to see what this guy could have a Fred Dean-like game where he comes in and busts out 3 or 4 sacks.
Yeah.
Just because he's motivated, right? Like, and he's mad because, Denver just let him go. So it's real. You get somebody in for the right reasons, and then you get somebody like Chris Kacherik to kind of get him moving. Be amazed what you can make happen in that scenario.
Channel the chip.
You can see this is a Chris Kacherik special. He's got that written all over it.
100%.
I have 2. I'm going with Steve Wilkes. Because if he can continue what he's been doing, I mean, it just from week 1 to week 5, it's kept going up.
Yeah.
And you definitely see the adjustments. You did, like, the Cowboys game is that right there, like the perfect example. And I'm also going to give some love to Eric Armstead.
My guy.
Absolutely. They all deserve it.
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of a pick your poison defense too.
It is.
Really?
Noticing a trend, honestly. Yeah.
What'd you say, Maddie?
I noticed a trend on that. Pick your poison offense, pick your poison defense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Offense. X factor. Go ahead, Becca.
I think if it's going to be rainy, it's going to be a lot of Debo, some juice in there. We're going to see those guys come in. They're going to mix up a bunch of running backs. JP Mason and those guys will get some time. But, Christian McCaffrey obviously he's going to be in the flat. He's going to be running the ball in the trenches. It's just going to be, we're going to run all over them. That's just what it'll happen from all angles, from all dudes. Yeah.
I'm going to go offensive line, because in order for that to happen, the offensive line has to, do its job. Yeah. And I think they will. Go ahead, Maddie.
I was going to say Trent Williams. I think he's the Fred Warner of that offensive line, kind of in that way, in terms of setting the bar. And the other guys in that line are really doing a good job of meeting that bar based on their abilities and their jobs and the things they're doing. So I think if he can help keep Myles Garrett in the game and quiet, I think they'll have a pretty solid day.
Go ahead, Ty.
I was thinking about it. And I'm going to say George Kittle again. They literally have no one who can guard him. Nobody. Nobody. Their DBs are too small. Their linebackers are too slow. I'm just Kittle over the middle all day. Just milk it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. You guys have anything else on this game?
Nope.
All right.
Make it 6-0 and move forward.
Right.
Exactly.
I want a perfect season. I'm now getting greedy. Like, I want the whole thing.
I already was thinking the same way.
20-0. And I'm looking at that schedule, guys. It's not crazy. It's not out of the beaten path. like we were all mad about the schedule. Like, oh, they're gonna go to the East Coast 14,000 times, and oh no, like these guys are road warriors. They'll play and get out of bed and kick your ass in any time zone, any state, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Meet me in Canada. Meet me in Mexico. Doesn't matter. Newfoundland. We don't care. Iceland. We're there. They don't care. Doesn't matter. The only like, yeah, exactly.
Youngstown, baby.
Yeah. Seattle on Thanksgiving and Philadelphia, I think is on a Sunday night or something, or a late one. Those two are the biggest. Yeah,
Christmas too, don't we?
Those hosting Baltimore.
Yeah.
On Christmas. That could be one that could be gross too, but like at the end of the day, like I keep looking at the schedule and I'm gonna be really disappointed if they're not, frankly, to be quite honest with you, because they have a chance to do it. So 1 week at a time.
Here we go. Speak it into existence, Matt.
Hurt myself. It's fine. It's fine. It's worth it for the moment.
All right, so
upset.
let's go to that hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning. And Ty, we're starting with you.
You know, in big games, you need your big players to step up and make big plays. If you think of the 49ers big players, Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, Trey Greenlaw, Mooney Ward, you know, on offense, Debo, Kittle, you know the names. All of them stepped up and played big time in a big time game. That's a championship mentality right there. That's what this team has. And they've been that way since week 1. So we are trending in the right direction. So don't blink. I'm telling you, don't blink. This is going to be fun.
It's a good Kenny Chesney song. Go ahead, Becca.
Well, shout out to George Kittle. Happy birthday and 3 touchdowns that tied Vernon Davis. The cleaning staff in Santa Clara, we already mentioned, cleaning up all the cowboy tears all weekend. No Dre, Fred, Ornberg, Skip. Great game. Lights out. Mitch, Wisnowski, the O-line, Kittle, everybody, Purdy. And Gary Plummer's relevant again. We love it. Love the shirt. And to Austin Bryant and T.Y. McGill. It was great to meet those guys. And hopefully we get them on the show. It was a fantastic weekend, a fantastic time. Looking forward to being 6-0. So, hey, go Niners.
Yeah, happy birthday to George Kittle, of course. It was an awesome game, awesome weekend. Another shout out to Austin Bryant and T.Y. McGill for being great. It was really cool to meet them. And yeah, Sunday should be another dub. And let's get it done. Go Niners. Yeah, Maddie.
Shout out to George Kittle for the great game in honor of the late Russ Francis. By the way, so I missed that last couple of weeks here. So that was a sad thing to see happen. He was truly one of a kind, and I mean wild, like just random things that you wouldn't even think another human being would do. Definitely died the way he lived his life. So shout out to him and thank you for that 1984 Super Bowl. And then of course I want to thank Becca's Voice for holding up for the entire show, because I had my doubts, but I'll be damned, it made it. So way to go, Becca's Voice.
Championship mentality there.
And I also have to give a special shout out to Maddie's new computer.
For hanging in there, right?
Hanging in there.
Touché.
Made it. Also want to thank the good folks at Gold Bar Whiskey for the Joe Montana edition thing. Got some shipped out recently. Very good stuff. Took a celebratory
Maddie,
one after the game.
I have a question for you, Maddie. What is the point spread for the game on Sunday?
I believe the 49ers are 4.5-point favorites. Give me a hot minute to double check that to make sure that is still the case. I think they're 4-point favorites, 4.5-point favorites. I know the over-under was 37.5.
Okay.
So,
we were only 3-point favorites against Dallas. I mean, we surely are more than that against
Oh,
Cleveland.
excuse me. San Francisco is a 7-point favorite over Cleveland. Pardon me.
There you go.
7.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, 49ers were at home. Dallas is bit, like 7 points on the road. That's an interesting spread. 37.5 over under, probably because of that wind.
Yeah. All right. Well, shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching or listening, make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, go Niners.
Go Niners.
Bang, bang.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking,